What's raging, gamers? Welcome to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. How you doing, HenricK the Wreck?
Chris, I'm here. No technical difficulties this week.
Yes, sir. You are in the full flesh. You are not that 8-bit pixelated mess that we had going on. But hey, we always appreciate y'all. Sometimes you get those technical difficulties when it comes to the live show action, baby. But we're here to be talking all things gaming, so we cannot appreciate all of y'all. But hey, HenricK, you might as well just hand me over $700. You know that I just recently got the PS5. And do I need the PS5 Pro? Do I need it, or do I just get the electrical tape out? Do I get the electrical tape out and put 3 black stripes on it, and then I'm officially a pro? Is that how we should handle things?
Tape. I'll send you some tape.
I mean, it's getting totally unbelievable. Not one of our topics for today's show, but I'm just super flabbergasted. Just a quick natural reaction from you, HenricK. When you saw the $700 price tag when it came to the PS5, what was your first reaction?
Man, the values of a budget PC is just going up.
When did it become so expensive to become a gamer? It's like I'm starting to feel like this is becoming like a class of like joining a hockey team, right? No wonder our parents put us into ASO soccer. We can't even afford the game. Please don't continue on this trend. Microsoft and Nintendo, especially you, Nintendo, with the Switch 2 coming out. Please don't be ever price it like that. But hey, we always like to start off the show with a bang and show you guys a lot of viral content that is circulating all across the World Wide Web. So let's get it. Call of Duty's Black Ops 6 open beta turned into a hacker convention where the only thing more impressive than their cheat codes was how fast they drained the fun out of online play.
Wait, someone on the other team? Who? Wait, who? What the? Oh, that guy. Oh. What the? Yeah.
You're fucking trolling me.
Yo.
Yeah, granted, it's not just Call of Duty that has this problem. It's a lot of other big series as well. But at this point, they really got to do something because this is just the reputation of Call of Duty at this point. That you're going to expect facing hackers.
But people keep buying it, though. It's like, well, maybe it's because it's the 6th installment and we've had so much faith over the years with Call of Duty that they will get something right. And, Treyarch, too. I mean, let's not, people do love this beloved studio, but, like, come on, you're killing me, Smalls. Let's get into the comments. Yep, and it will only get worse. Time for Treyarch to try to give console players the ability to play against console-only players. Forced cross-play with PC is just awful. I thought that was already a setting. Is that not implemented in Call of Duty Black Ops 6?
So maybe it's not in Black Ops 6, at least not in the beta, but I don't know. I feel like that is an actual setting. At least it is in a lot of games, so it should be.
But we would be bullying HenricK the Wreck because then he would never be able to join me. Because I like to play on the console, even though I have a beautiful PC.
You know what? I enjoy playing it on PC. And if I go up against a hacker, that just means I got to get better.
Because it's a skill issue, I'm assuming.
Because it's a skill issue.
You don't let the mods phase you anytime. You just got to play better in the end. Hackers going crazy in the beta, and yet I'm temporarily banned because I did too well in one game. That just seems like an illogical statement, going straight from literally his user tag name on X. We don't know what you got banned for, so we can't take your word. But I feel it's just crazy. You see it and you think that it'd be gone. Already hackers, this game is so mid, and anti-cheat is a complete joke. I know, it's so funny how over the years Call of Duty's always celebrating how they're just really going to get on top of this, and then what do you know? A game that's only in an open beta, not even out yet, continues to become a hacker convention. But HenricK, here's a recommendation that will keep your butt alive longer than your character in Elden Ring. I know we've all been struggling. Yes, you probably have seen the news, HenricK, about Elden Ring receiving a patch pretty soon to make some of these DLC bosses just a little bit easier. But if you're planning on surviving the brutal world of the Land Between for hours, you'll need a gaming chair that's so comfortable that it's not just your spine that's joining the death count. I know how that goes. You know how you start creeping more closer to the screen?
Yeah,
I don't protect the spine. But this is a good gaming chair recommendation for y'all.
Do you want to be a better gamer? My new invention quickly corrects your mistakes. Taking damage in the game gives you a gentle reminder to improve.
When people say, he's just got to get a better gaming chair, this is what they mean. He's got a better gaming chair.
when you originally sent me this video my way, I was like, you one cheeky bastard. You kinky dog with that gaming chair. But like, who comes up with this kind of stuff? But then you get comments like this, or with over 34,000 likes. I would be taking damage all day long. I would be the person who took more damage than the entire Elden Ring fan base. I will take 5,500 times the most damage someone took. I took damage in the backyard, in my job, in my bed, everywhere. I don't know what that means.
Whoa, what a freaky comment you pulled up, Chris.
That's what I'm saying. What's the hardest video game to play? Asking for myself. Well, Elden Ring DLC. Cameron, that's your game, okay? And last, you shouldn't use that with Elden Ring. Is there another game that comes to mind?
With logic.
Is there another game that comes to mind that it's like, it's like the electric chair? And you were forcing just a weird experience. Like, I mean, what game would you feel confident that you would not get? I was about to say a very dirty word, but you get the point. Up there. What's the game that you feel confident that you're like, I think I probably won't take the nail?
Maybe like the first Halo campaign. I'm really good at that. I know it back and forwards. Because
my weird ass mind is like thinking about Squid Games. I immediately went to Fall Guys.
Yeah.
Imagine all their asses are planted on this gaming chair, and it's like, wait until next week's episode. All right, Netflix, I need my check. But anyways, we got one more clip for you guys that is going viral all across the globe. So not everyone gets the full circle nostalgia of Pokemon, just like my father, who still likes to call it Pokemon to this damn day. It's just like, dude, you're killing me, and it still irks me to this day. It's called Pokemon. Put some respect on it, Father, if you're watching. I love you. But where it went from a trading card game to a digital empire, and now we're back to grown adults chasing those mint condition relics like they're the holy grail of our childhood. So if you haven't seen this clip, it's pretty funny.
They're worth about 150 together.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah.
So, this one's not even been opened?
Yeah.
Open it,
Be
Mum.
really careful with that. Don't, please don't. Don't fuck about with it. That's not funny.
Yeah, okay.
That is not funny.
So that's not even opened. Did you laminate
Stop
it?
moving. Stop moving. Dave, you're going to piss me off because I asked you specifically to not move.
Some of you might be laughing, and I am too. I mean, I'm not big into collecting Pokemon cards myself. But when you look at the value that some of these cards have, I think you can maybe understand his reaction a little bit more.
But you also understand the excitement that you want to show people it. But is that really the smart idea to lay it on a bed that's bouncing around and they're always talking about, you know, what the slightest crease in your cards? Yeah, you know, like, what do you expect people to start laughing? But then Trollface26 says people forgetting that the one slight crease could lose him like 2K in euros. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, I think they originally value it by the corners first, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, you start jiggling around some of those unopened packs or whatever, or just the cards laid out on your bed, kind of a silly move. Yeah, not very smart. This person wrote, I can't believe he got so mad over a little move. Yeah, you know what? Kind of lower the tone, man. That's your girl. You got to chill just a little bit. You got to use a table next time, my man. Not a glass table. Use a wood table.
Yeah.
Exactly. And last, weird how people are getting mad at him for getting annoyed, but completely ignoring the fact she belittles something he cares a lot about and has spent time and money on the double standards. Yeah, I mean,
that's a good point.
You're kind of sitting there waiting for the value to go up. She's probably waiting for that dream vacation. So, I mean, it could go vice versa, but I totally understand the animosity. Are you a card collector? Let us know what's good. So, hey, HenricK, are you ready to rock and roll?
Absolutely, and I know what time it is.
Well,
it's time for Pause or Repeat.
Hey, let's get it.
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Star Wars Outlaws. This is Ubisoft's moment to deliver to the gamers an experience in the Star Wars universe that is not just following a Jedi. If you've ever thought that the criminal underworld that Han Solo was involved in sounded cool, this is your chance. With that being said, let's dive into the gameplay and see what was delivered in the final product. The gameplay of Star Wars Outlaws mostly is either stealth or gunplay with your blaster. You can pick up an enemy blaster, but it only lasts for use of one clip or until you are forced to drop it, which happens often, like going into a vent or taking a ladder. Outside of combat, the game gives you the opportunity to do side quests, and since you are given 4 planets, 5 including the first, to explore the map and do quests on, you'll find that there is a good amount of content to do, albeit some higher quality than the rest. Through the whole journey, you are accompanied by Nyx, a Mercall companion. Nyx is quite versatile, being able to be used to unlock pathways, steal or grab components and collectibles for you, as well as being able to help you in combat. Throughout it all, you'll be raising or lowering your reputation with each of the 4 criminal organizations in the game. So all in all, it is a pretty standard affair for an action-adventure game from Ubisoft. But seeing as how it takes place in the Star Wars universe, how does the story hold up? The story follows rookie outlaw Kay Vess. Her mother, Rico Vess, was a thief as well and taught her some tricks of the trade as she was growing up. At the beginning of the game, you take control of Kay and find that she is trying to score big and make a name for herself. However, she has developed a reputation of not being the greatest thief out there and regularly faces blunders. She finds herself taking a job to rob a syndicate crime lord named Sliro Rubak of the Zarek Besh Syndicate and needing to escape from the planet after the heist goes wrong. From there, Kay tries to make a name for herself with the syndicates by doing them favors. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat? Seeing how this is an action-adventure game with a companion as well, do you think that this game is going to be as memorable as, say, Ratchet and Clank or Jak and Daxter?
You know, that's a great question. I think it will. Only for the reason that it does feel like this game does compete as like one of those still top 3 best Star Wars games out there today. I know a lot of people are going to be kind of shocked that I'm even saying that, even with some of the bugginess out there. But I mean,
yeah, I think that statement in itself is going to disappoint some fans of the Star Wars, like the old Force Unleashed games, especially because there's fans that swear by those games.
But I guess my thing would be is if it weren't for the story and all those shady deals with the Galaxy mob bosses in between that sweet spot between The Emperor Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, you know, that's where the appeal comes from. But if you're asking me, does this game stand a chance with the greats of the open world games? I don't know. I don't quite know. I mean, you're asking me whether, did they miss an opportunity? Sure. They definitely had some things inside the gameplay that I was like, I really was anticipating a little bit more. You know, if you're into that kind of cover-based shooting, you're absolutely going to love this kind of style of game. You also got an Ubisoft game, so of course you're stuck with missions that make you sneak around like you're a Jedi ninja. Start to think about Assassin's Creed, right? But the problem is, in Star Wars Outlaws, sneaking around is about as reliable as a stormtrooper's aim. The bugginess is what's really killing the initial launch of this, and that's why I feel like I sound a bit hypocritical because this is the same kind of shit that I was slamming Cyberpunk 2077. Just give me a game that's complete on day one. But the story and the Star Wars lore, if you're a Star Wars fanatic, you're still gonna really love this game, even beyond all the bugginess, which the studio is claiming they're already on top of this and we're supposed to get a patch update within the next 10 days. Do you have faith, even with some of the bugginess getting fixed with the game, will this still hold up as a good game, HenricK?
Well, that's kind of the thing I think as well, where, yeah, it's not a perfect game by any means. It is a really cool game if you're a Star Wars fan because they do a pretty good job of building out the world for you to explore, especially when you go walking around the towns. You really kind of feel like you're in a Star Wars town, something pulled exactly out of the movies, basically.
Exactly.
But I do think that there are some clear weak points in the game as well. So you have to really point out when it comes down to it, because when you compare the moment-to-moment stealth and gunplay of this game to other games in the same genre, or even in like other stealth genre games like Deus Ex.
Okay, yep.
I think when you really compare those two, Deus Ex is so much more refined in the stealth than this is. And I can say this from the point of like, when you take down someone, you know, with your gun or even with just a stealth takedown, sometimes the AI doesn't even see that you've taken them down. When in a game like Deus Ex, if you leave a body or if they see you from across the room,
that's a good point. Yeah,
they will get on alert and say, "Hey, someone's being taken out, and we got to go hunt whoever's in our base because something's going on here." And I didn't feel like that sense of urgency in the same way. Which, granted, I guess at the end of the day, this is not really a game that's trying to be like Deus Ex, you know.
But did you feel that
It's a little disappointing that it feels like it could have been better.
But when you keep saying like better, like what would you wish that you had with it? Were you like anticipating that potentially K-Vest would not be this 5-finger discount bandit that almost basically resembles something of a Han Solo, but we just slapped a woman on it? Were you hoping to get a lightsaber? Is that what you're disappointed about?
Well, actually, that's the thing that's interesting about the game. It's a Star Wars game that doesn't focus on a Jedi. So it's a game where you actually don't have a lightsaber for once.
But do you think that was a risky choice?
Lightsabers are a cool part. Well, that's the thing. Lightsabers are a really cool part of the Star Wars universe. And when you take that out, you got to make sure that everything else is really fun. And the fact that you can't use anything consistently other than your blaster that you start off with, that's kind of disappointing. I mean, yeah, like I said in the video, you can pick up a blaster that gets dropped by an enemy, but the second you do anything else, like, you drop it. So, like, I think that it could have been an opportunity to give you more options in the sandbox of the shooting and also the stealth. You know, that's just what I've seen as my big problem, comparing it to other games that have done more fleshed out systems when it comes to that.
But I feel like it's the story and the cutscenes that really kind of still pull you in, even though the game is as buggier than a Jawa sandcrawler. Because who cares when the glitches come in when you're zipping across these iconic planets that we know inside the Star Wars universe. And I think what was a cool feature that I would say, you know, which I'm definitely agreeing with you. I think I'm being biased because it's like all things I love Star Wars, and that's why if you're a Star Wars fan, you're gonna absolutely love it. But if you're not a Star Wars fan, you're gonna be like, wow, this game totally freaking sucks, you know, compared to some of these other games out there, because you're like, yeah, it's cool that I got this cool speeder bike that I can eventually later upgrade to be tricked out so it can ride on water. But then you start to play some of these open world games and you start thinking about some of these open world greats like the Far Cry series, or you're thinking about Grand Theft Auto, and you have all these amazing opportunities where there's vehicles and creatures where the NPCs are riding them and I can't ride them. I mean, what a missed opportunity for Star Wars Outlaws, especially when this is their very first venture into an open world gameplay format.
Yeah, it goes back to the fact that it feels like it could have been so much better. And hey, maybe if they do a sequel, maybe they'll actually get a chance to do it better. But I think also when you have that look at things, you shouldn't expect a sequel to be the reason why they fix what wasn't good
like
in the first place, you know?
Yeah,
it should be just good straight off the bat, right? And I think that's why a lot of people also have really been bashing the game, especially if they're not a Star Wars fan. They're not really going to get the greatest of experience that they would expect from a $70 game, or more, depending on which version you got.
So you're not getting that kind of same sentiment that you get with K-Vest then compared to Kyle Kestis, you know, the other video game character that's been, betrayed to the point that everybody wants to see him in the visual medium. But I mean, that game is so loved by Star Wars,
Chris.
But that game is beloved by so many Star Wars fans that they actually want to see it be adapted to the visual screen. You know what I'm saying? Like a visual medium, like a TV show. So are you just not vibing with K-Vest?
Well, I feel like they could have done much more with even the story and even her character to make her,
like the furry buddy
much
Nick?
More interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
don't like him?
It's just like, I get it. You're starting off as like the rookie thief, but when I'm just popping heads and I'm, sneaking into these places and, not really being seen, it doesn't make you feel like the rookie, So,
but I don't know about you, but like I always like a good game where like I can always appreciate, especially when I'm playing like these single player games where you can get a companion. I'll ride along per se.
I do like Nyx. He's
because
a cool
he does have really cool features
have.
in the game, especially when you're playing stealth games where you can basically send him off to go divert, enemy threats. He can, flip certain switches. I mean, there's a lot of things that this little sidekick can do. I mean, my first initial reaction was I was like, oh my gosh, K Vess and Nyx remind me of Kim Possible and Rufus. Just except, he's just not a naked mole rat.
Right, right.
So, I mean, sometimes those kind of little elements can kind of bring the overall atmosphere together. But the final question stands, HenricK. Is it a pause or repeat? Even though you got 4 different crime families, you got different syndicates, the story is supposed to be a little bit different every single time. Would it make you go back to see how, the different storyline would be if I just so choose to decide to work with this one family over the other? Would you repeat it, HenricK?
I'm going to say it's a pause.
Ooh.
I'd say the game is maybe worth a playthrough for a lot of people, especially if you're a Star Wars fan, like myself. But playing it a second time, I think I'm good on that.
It sounds like you're a bit annoyed that this is a cover-based shooting game, and I know it's not quite like Dead Space where it's kind of laughable that you're even able to carry around these 4 big-ass guns in your inventory. You know what I'm saying? But, like, yes, didn't you feel that kind of same sentiment that it was so freaking annoying to constantly keep dropping your secondary weapon? Because I bet that was a skill issue for you. I bet you really needed that secondary weapon because every single time, I don't know about you, man, like anytime you wanted to melee, every time you wanted to climb, anytime you wanted to like enter a vent, you always had to drop your gun first. It's like the only people that can apparently multitask is only a droid. Is that the only thing? I mean, K-Vess is probably one of the silliest,
What would have been really cool is if you had Nyx carry the gun for you.
Yeah.
Maybe if K-Vess can't carry it, have Nyx carry the gun. All right?
Maybe they were just so upset with the Mandalorian that they already put the little, Baby Yoda, essentially inside that little floating pod that they're like, man, they totally killed our idea. Where are the guns going to go? Where can I store the guns? I need them floating with her. But man, I think I'm with you too. I'm going to have to call it a pause. It's fun the first time around, but I don't get the sense that the story really changes even if I go towards a different family. I'm trying not to have the spoiler. You know what I'm saying? But it's just my initial reaction. So I feel like the first playthrough, to me, I still had a blast of a time, but it's just like there's so many good games that are going to be coming out later on that it's like you're not going to care to want to really revisit this. But if you do find this on a discount when the holiday time comes around, buy it. It's a great game, especially if you're a Star Wars game. But like overall, it's not something that I'm like, it's like Grand Theft Auto 5. I think I want to come back to it every once a year. That's not the kind of appeal
I think
that I'm getting from it.
You can buy it, or not buy, you can like kind of almost rent it for, what is it, like $17 a month?
You do it through the Game Pass.
Ubisoft Plus.
Ubisoft Plus, that's correct. Yep.
Yeah, you could do that as well. If you feel like you're going to finish the game so quickly, just make sure that if you don't want to have that service, you cancel it afterwards.
That's right. That's true. So yeah, I mean, there's always a lot of great alternatives out there, and you got to figure it out, gamers. Come on now. But you heard from your boy Chris Collins and HenricK the Wreck. But HenricK, are you ready to rock and roll, my friend?
Absolutely. It's time to rage, man.
Hey, come on now. Let's get it. We got more left here on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show, so let's get it. What's good, listeners? Welcome to Patch Notes, where my co-host HenricK the Wreck and I discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. Let's get it. Roblox, the billion-dollar kids' virtual playground, is stepping out of the pixelated world and getting real. Literally. The company just announced that some game developers can now charge users actual money inside the game instead of relying on their virtual currency known as ROBUX. So the goal is to make the platform more appealing to developers who'd prefer cash over pretend coins. I mean, does that really make sense? Of course it does. Who the hell was following the NFT train? Nobody. But hey, I guess Roblox is finally coming to the modern times. But they are trying to create something within the game and build upon their virtual empires. And so gamers stormed the web to voice their thoughts on the news with the following. So let's go ahead and read the first comment. Good move for Roblox and for gaming in general. Very few of these in-game premium currencies serve any meaningful purpose beyond allowing abusive pricing, like selling oddly sized currency packs relative to the items that can be bought, which pushes the player towards spending more they want to. So I guess I kind of understand what they're talking about. It's like, you know, like we all know that like 100 V-Bucks in Fortnite is $1.
Yeah,
but they always like to do
they're
those.
Also talking about how like the way that things are priced is you don't get exactly the amount when you buy like say if you buy $10 worth of something like V-Bucks, most likely the thing you're going to buy is like $7 when it translates to real money, that sort of thing. So the extra money ends up going to waste unless you end up spending more money.
So you feel a little bit more trust, like, oh, you're like, oh, I got a little bit more trust for Roblox now, because now me as the consumer, I can actually see the value of the dollar on my screen. You're like, thank you. As far as crypto goes, though, this does bring up an old but infrequently asked question. Why do some of these things need a token at all? Like, even things that use blockchain don't always need a token to run some of the sort of parallel economy. If a project is profitable, then people should be able to just pay it fiat without the chance of tokens massively deflating when it turns out the project's economics don't work. The next comment that we got here is, I've said it so many times in here and have often been downvoted. Gaming doesn't need crypto. The only real use case I can see is for purchasing the game itself, allowing the digital resale, selling a license as an NFT. But even then, why would any developer want to open up more avenues for their product to be sold where they don't get the lion's share of the value? There you go, buddy. You answered your own question.
Yeah, everyone wants their cut.
Exactly. They're not going to give you the chance to be able to sell that gaming license. Oh no, guys, we lost the Roblox Web3 adoption. Though seriously, I don't think it's that bad at all to give the customer the option to transfer in the currency that is the most comfortable for them, especially if your customers are 10-year-old kids with their parents' credit cards. Yeah, it's like their player base is 13 years old. Why do Roblox keep doing this, man? They wanted to turn themselves into a dating app. Now they want, to turn their virtual currencies into real money for young kids. We even just saw, I don't know if you saw the news, HenricK, with Australia. They're already in talks of early conversations to potentially ban, kids under the age of 16 from even entering the World Wide Web, social media. So how is this all going to work out? I mean, obviously, it's going to be by country by country. You could think of China, for example, and, their strict policy within gaming. But let's go on to the next comment. Awesome. Now my kid will just beg for straight up cash when he wants to buy some stupid fat frog face skin. Just like the one that you're wearing on Reddit right now. Pretty funny. Next one is, NFTs are hugely useful for tracking and transferring ownership of assets and identity documents. House deeds, car titles, copywriting, etc. can benefit from using NFTs. The state of California is already exploring converting car titles to utilize NFTs. So many people think NFTs are just for internet art. They're not. By the way, obviously there is 3 negative downvotes. I went to go look into this further because I've never heard of this, HenricK. That's actually was looked upon, but was completely shut down from the system. State of California is no longer flattering that idea, especially when it comes to your car. So yeah, that idea is not going to come along anytime soon. But the last comment we got here is, Roblox developers aren't messing around, skipping ROBUX and going straight for fiat. That's about as straightforward as it gets. So yeah, I mean, there's some people that just feel like, is this a smart move, HenricK? Because, the more I think about it, it feels like this is Roblox master plan to lure developers into their virtual world with real cash. Because think about who they're competing with. Isn't it really Fortnite in the end? The Fortnite universe?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot of games out there like Fortnite and Roblox that really have just the whole thing of them being a platform for people to make other things in and potentially actually make money out of it. Like, those are probably the 2 biggest ones when you really think about it. At the same time, though, I will say most likely Roblox and Fortnite too, and can't really say that it's not that fan base too. They're really young, so they're always going to be having to ask for money from their parents, or maybe they have like a little side gig on the side, but they don't have like actual jobs in the same sense as like a 25-year-old out of college would have. So it's a little harder to get money out of them.
But in a sense, can I pull you back in a sense, HenricK? Because I feel like you might be missing the bigger picture. At least I feel like you're missing the bigger picture about I think what Roblox is trying to do. Because again, they're allowing developers to have this so-called paid access games within Roblox. I feel like this is something that's not happening right now in Fortnite, right? So like that's a pretty ambitious move from the company, don't you think? Like they're like, we don't want you to create your own indie game. We feel like you can get better support for your game if you actually build upon our own virtual empire. You get what I'm saying? Like, do you feel like that's a smart move compared to like,
well, at that point, they're basically trying to turn. They're basically trying to turn their game into an engine. And at the end of the day, I guess it really is that when you look at how many different games there are that have been made on the platform. It's just like how Unity is very well used in the indie space. Well, maybe not so much anymore now that there was that backlash towards them. People are probably switching to other things now. But maybe this is the chance for Roblox to come in and be like, hey, we know you don't really like Unity anymore because they've done this to you. Maybe this is our chance for us to sell to you our engine, where you can make a game in our game.
Because to me, it at least sounds like Roblox is really trying to encourage all these indie developers to start making their games inside their own gaming platform. And I think the greatest appeal that they have going for them right now is that they got 300 million daily active users playing on the Roblox platform. And that's just so freaking incredible.
Whatever you make.
Exactly. And so they facilitate about 10% of all global gaming content sales through the Roblox platform. And so the more we looked into it, the goal is for them to increase the appeal for existing developers. And so they feel like if you guys can create these paid access games within Roblox, this is how they're basically breaking it down. So what they are trying to push for is $50 games inside of Roblox. And so what they are saying is the creator will pocket 70% of the earnings. What does that sound like? Oh yeah, that kind of sounds like that iOS deal that everybody was kind of calling for, that 70-30. So very kind of interesting that they took that same kind of appeal. But the interesting more part about this is the payouts will be on a sliding scale. And what do I mean by that? That means that with higher cost games, you are going to get a greater percentage of the revenue to the creators. So they are urging developers to create $50 games within Roblox and less of the $10 and the $30 games. And the reason why I'm saying that, HenricK, is they were going to give you about 50 to 60% of the share respectfully. So, I mean, if you're a developer, wouldn't you want to get as much money as possible? I think I'm going to try to go for the $50 game as much as I can. What do you make of that? I mean, to me, I just think that's like insane. I mean, we were all having heart attacks about spending $40 on Concord, but now they want us to pay $50 for a paid access game in Roblox?
Well, it is enticing as the creator, especially when you have so many people that have the chance to actually see what you make. It's because they're making it like a storefront, like how Steam sells games, but Steam doesn't always make games. And, when they do, it's not an engine like Roblox is, where you log in and then you are able to see other games to buy. It's not like that.
But Roblox always does goofy shit. Remember the IKEA?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like they were literally hiring virtual workers for their fake IKEA stores inside of Roblox to try to sell you furniture. And then you can make your own fake bedroom and go, you know what, Ma? That light post kind of seems kind of cool. Like, I think I might need that. Yeah. Like that to me is so wild.
The biggest thing is making sure that you have the tools for the creators of video games given to them. I'm talking like Roblox giving it to them to still let them accomplish their vision for their game. Because some games, I imagine, are not going to be able to be made in Roblox. So there's going to be some limitations, of course. It's just like the other limitations in any game engine.
Right. And I think the other question is, who are the developers? Because they only said some are going to be able to have this access to be able to charge for real money instead of the virtual currency that they're already providing. And so some of the news that we know that is going to be coming to Roblox is, or at least one of the new partnerships that Roblox got going on, is with Shopify. So Shopify will soon be able to sell some of their physical merchandise to US users over the age of 13, coming soon at the end of the year. But they say a larger launch will be coming in 2025. So very crazy that Roblox is pushing for something that Mark Zuckerberg and Meta were really hoping to be the first. And then I know Fortnite and Disney were really hoping that they were going to be able to sell their Disney products through this virtual universe before Roblox. But who would have thought that this little 8-bit video game would be the ones leading that charge? But what do you guys make of this? Would you pay for a paid access video game that costs $50 inside of Roblox? Or does that sound bananas, or does that sound very enticing? You, the gamers, let us know what's good. But man, HenricK, this topic is starting to really blow up now, like really blow up in the gaming space. So break it down for anybody that hasn't heard this. This is an awesome debate. Let's get it.
Yeah, so we all know GTA 6. One of the biggest, most anticipated games out there.
Oh my God, big time.
Currently. Oof. And Heaven 17, the band, their singer Martin Ware just dropped a bombshell, claiming that Rockstar Games, the multi-billion-dollar studio, offered just 7,500.
There you go. Yep.
5,000.
How about those saying you were $75? No,
$75 would be crazy.
But even
they
this is crazy.
But to feature the, well, yeah, 7,500 is not very much. To feature their 1983 hit Temptation in the upcoming Grand Theft Auto 6 Forever. With the tweet, as we can see here, I was recently contacted by my publishers on behalf of Rockstar Games doing the possibility of using Temptation on the new Grand Theft Auto 6. Naturally excited about the immense wealth that was about to head my way, I scrolled to the bottom of the email and read the offer. It was $7,500 for a buyout of any future royalties from the game forever.
Forever.
To put this in context, Grand Theft Auto 6 grossed, wait for it. Or sorry, yeah, I think he means Grand Theft Auto 5.
Right,
grossed,
that's what. Yeah,
wait for it.
True.
$8.6 billion. But think of the exposure. Go F yourself.
Yeah, man. Dude, gamers, man. I'm telling you, they were very quick to respond to this tweet, weren't they, HenricK?
Yeah, they were.
It seemed like it felt pretty split as, more publications and media outlets started to cover this story. But let's go into, this is the first tweet that we got here. Fun fact, if they asked for 0.01% of royalty, assuming GTA 6 makes the same amount as 5 did, it'll probably make more. They'd get $8.6 million. So yeah, $7,500 is an insult. I mean, do people understand too, even with like streaming services, that artists only get paid a fifth of a penny per play?
Yeah.
And so that's why
this is also just a huge disappointment in like them saying, hey, we'll give you just this small amount of money and we'll use your song forever. What do you mean? Yeah. Like, you can definitely pay them more than that.
And then, but even one person writes, that makes sense. Making $8.6 billion and only to pay $7,500, that's too wild. Another person wrote, them. Go F yourself. Classic Hugh Jackman. The next one we have here is, we got GTA 6 drama before GTA 6. Yep. The classic memes. Yep. Found its way inside the tweeting world. They might regret this. Exposure on GTA 6 would have been huge. I mean, I didn't quite know that single from the 1983 band known as Heaven 17. But I mean, again, it's owning the music forever in a video game for only $7,500 and not getting, some of those residuals even after the case, like you hear with the Charlie Sheens of the world when they get the reruns of 2.5 Men. I think that's what he's calling for, all right? And last, when a game rakes in billions, a $7,500 offer is like asking for a tip at a 5-star restaurant. Play fair or face the consequences. And another person followed up, it's a missed opportunity to put their name out there more. So people are kind of split over this debate, HenricK. So did Rockstar Games really think offering $7,500 for a song from a 1983 hit track was going to tempt Heaven 17? Or are they just trying to see if the nostalgia can be purchased on a clearance sale? Do you feel like they offered this to everybody, or was it just for this one band?
I mean, it might be that they look at everyone who they're trying to get songs in the game from, and they kind of evaluate the value that they are going to be getting out of it. So, a band like this that probably not a whole lot of people really listen to anymore, considering it's a smaller band and then also they're from 1983. They probably saw this as an opportunity for them to not really pay them a ton.
But
at the same time, like, they could have at least offered royalties.
But do you also feel like, too, and trust me, I feel like it was totally wrong, and I think Heaven 17 made the right call to just be like, you know what, forget you guys. You go and worry about some other artists that wants to get that kind of exposure. If they think that's great for them, cool. I'm already like in my 50s and my 60s. I don't need your money. Not that kind of lowball offer. Forget you guys. But I think it's also important to educate our own gamer fan base that's tuning in to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show, because there was a really interesting story that happened actually last Thursday with Remedy Entertainment. I think this might bring into context of like why maybe Rockstar Games are lowballing, because maybe they're used to always offering those kind of lowball offers. Because get this, because on last Thursday, Remedy Entertainment announced that it would soon patch Alan Wake to cut David Bowie's Space Oddity from the game's credits due to what, HenricK? A licensing issue. And so what's really interesting about this case is it's not the first time Alan Wake has ran into music problems. Remedy back in from May 2017 to October 2018 actually had to pull the entire game off of Steam, Xbox Game Store, and other platforms while they were renegotiating their contracts. And so the thing is, it's like, why do video game developers and studios not look for a forever licensing agreement compared to television and film? And originally, for the longest time, the answer was real simple. People would view video games as not having a longer shelf life than movies. But now, with how technology rolls, if you want to write a limited, music licensing agreement when the game first initially launches, and then when the licensing gets finished, and that music artist or whoever now owns that music wants to now double or maybe even triple the amount for the licensing right, well, now those publishers with the developers and studios can now look at them and go, respectfully, no, and I will just patch you out. Can you do that in a film or a TV? Maybe the intro,
Well,
Dawson Creek got in trouble with.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's a lot easier in video games. And so that's why they don't seek the forever music license. But why does it seem like Rockstar wants to do that now? Is it because they have what's going on that nobody else has, and that's GTA Online? Maybe that plays into it, and they need that. That forever licensing. Maybe that doesn't justify the $7,500. Maybe they needed to be able to have to specify that a little bit more. But there's a reason why they just, Rockstar Games maybe doesn't want to renegotiate. That's where my mind goes, at least. But does that make any kind of sense to you, HenricK? Or do you feel like there's something more to it?
Well, they might also be expecting that the game is going to be lasting a bit longer than a lot of other games, considering how long GTA 5 lasted before getting a sequel, or even any official talk of a sequel from the developer. I imagine that GTA 6 is going to have a long shelf life compared to GTA 5. Maybe not as long. I wouldn't know, because I don't know the future. They might have a GTA 7 5 years.
I think you do know the future. Come on, man. That GTA Online, people have been playing GTA 5 for like
another like 10
years. 13 years. You know, come on. And so it's like movie producers were more likely to get a license in perpetuity for that reason, right? So like if publishers and studios can't or don't want to renegotiate, they've got to pull their game or just patch out the music. So for other like studios, they'll take that gamble. Rockstar clearly doesn't want to make that move, but Rockstars are telling another Rockstar game to F off. Gotta love it. But hey, who's in the right? Who's in the wrong? If you were a music artist, like, would you have taken this deal? Do you feel like this is a missed opportunity for Heaven 17 to get even more exposure for the band? Should you jump on it? Or do you stand by your merits and you say, you know what, forget this and forget the likes of, you know, Spotify and Apple Music and Tidal, you know, for lowballing all these artists through streaming services so they fight the band? Let us know what's good. But hey, are you ready to move on to the next topic of conversation, HenricK?
Yeah. What's going on with Astrobot, Chris?
Yeah, you know, this is one of the little bit more intriguing stories because Astrobot just can't stop winning, whether it's the heart of fans and the critics or racking up some of the year's highest review scores. It's like PlayStation's greatest hits album. It's paying tribute to almost every major and minor game in their history. In fact, one character's creator is so salty, he's actually mad his hero made it into the game as a bot. So enter former Days Gone creative director John Garvin, who tweeted the following: "Haha, I see my character reduced to a cartoon shill promoting some small game, and I'm being harsh? Sit down, my brother. Adults are talking." Damn, he's very, very salty about this situation. So gamers reacted to John Garvin's tweet with the following. So let's go ahead and start diving into those tweets. At least your character is in a good game now. That is, dog, you don't know what you're talking about. Days Gone is an excellent game. I know you haven't played it, HenricK, but for the gamers who haven't played Days Gone, everybody knows that this man is totally wrong. I can't believe there's 5.5 thousand hearts likes on that. I'm baffled. I'm lost for words, HenricK.
Yeah, it is a game that is always brought up when it comes to like conversations of a sequel or you know, something of that sort, maybe a spin-off. They always shut it down.
They always shut it down. I mean, Astrobot seems to be a pretty great game. One great game advertising another. What's the harm? Yeah, sure. People would wonder what's the harm. I think I know what the harm was, HenricK. Like, remember when they were just about to get ready to promote, the Sony showcase and all that stuff? Like, I think back in June, and they had the poster kind of celebrating all the historic franchises that Sony has produced over the years. Who was left off the poster? Deacon from Days Gone, and then all of a sudden he shows up in Astrobot, and then they highlight the synopsis of the game by highlighting major and minor games. Maybe he took that as an insult, and then all of a sudden they got the, you could get his motorcycle later on in the video game. They're like, wow, we weren't vetted about any of this. I guess you guys do like the game after all, even though you didn't want to give us any more funding to create the sequel that the whole team wanted to create. Yeah. I mean this with no malice, but you aren't seeing the bigger picture. Astrobot is on its way to be one of the Sony's most iconic games that is also a celebration of Sony games. Having your character in-game is something everyone wanted. And true, I think, it would have been a disservice if it wasn't shown there. But can you still sympathize with the man? Sure, I think you can. Jesus Christ, your insecurity is showing. A game designed to celebrate PlayStation's rich history, and you're upset that your character, along with other iconic protagonists, got a cameo. It's like the lights are on in your head, but nobody's home. And we have one more here. Let's go ahead and actually two more, excuse me. Imagine celebrating the win of another game while being humble about the character being featured / respected in it. Imagine your fans seeing said character in that game and being excited that something they love was referenced. You're not just being harsh, you're being an ass. And last, you're an awful person, and Ben Studios is better off without you. And, kind of add a little bit more context to that one tweet. John Garvin actually had to delete a few tweets because at the time, certain critics were, giving it, some bad reviews, even though I'm still celebrating the game. I think it's a badass game, but some people, can't handle constructive criticism, right? And so Ben Studios had to come out, write a tweet, essentially denouncing a good lot of things that John Garvin was saying. He was saying shit like, oh, you know, they're mad that it's a white guy chasing another white girl, and it's like just like weird analogies. And you know, he's like the woke mob's trying to come after me, but like I'm like, even when you play the game, you don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Like even with the story, like it's like none of his complaints make any sense, and so he was just salty about constructive criticism. He didn't handle it right. But let's go back to the overall topic of conversation, because HenricK, is John Garvin upset because his Days Gone character became a bot, or is he just mad that Astrobot got better reviews? Because, you know, the former creative director, does he have any merit to stand on, or did Astrobot steal that too?
You know, I kind of, on one hand, I get it. I get the sentiment that he, you know, sees that his game is not really, is kind of neglected by Sony, and then all of a sudden is put into this game where it's not actually the game. And like, they did this with a lot of other characters too. When you look at it, I mean, one of the biggest ones is Bloodborne.
Yeah.
You have all the fans saying, hey, we want a Bloodborne remaster or a remake or something. Yeah, anything. Give us something. And Sony's just, I pretend not to see.
Well, because
and then they put a Bloodborne
that's
bot in this game.
I get what you're saying, because it's like to let people know, like I guess this is technically a sequel to already a game that's already out, Astro's Playroom.
Yeah,
it's the game that's already pre-installed into the PS5s and the PS4 when it was around. No, just the PS5, excuse me. And then, you know, Astrobot comes out, you know, and is basically, you know, repurposing all these characters from major and minor games. Do you feel like they're using this as a tool, in a sense, to be able to kind of figure out where the PS5 player base is at, and like what they want to see and what kind of games they want to see produced? Because I was reading a story that even Crash Bandicoot was working on a new IP, and then they scratched that at the last second to go pursue a new venture. And maybe they might use this and see like, hey, listen, a lot of people are gravitating towards this old character like Bloodborne, and they tend to be wearing this a lot more in the bot game. Why is that the case? Maybe because they want it.
Yeah, I mean, they probably could get some data to see what the fans really want and see, you know, hey, there's this IP that we haven't touched in like 15 years. Maybe we should do something about that. And, you know, clearly people want to see something, so let's do something. But I feel like they didn't need to necessarily release a game to know that, because, like, especially when you go back to Bloodborne, when you see that it gets trending on social media so often, and it's like every time that there's some sort of big like state of play or something, there's always rumors of a Bloodborne remaster or a Bloodborne PC port on the horizon, and it never happens.
Right.
But it ends up being trending on things like social media, things on like Twitter, because everyone's talking about it. So I don't think they necessarily need a game to gauge that. At the same time, maybe they do, because I think maybe Sony might at this point, considering how disconnected they maybe seem to a lot of the people who are fans of their IPs.
Well, it seems like this former creative director has a completely different stance than the rest of the team over there at Ben Studios. I'm sure Ben Studios would love to create a sequel, and what I get from John Garvin is that he would love to leave Sony and just make Days Gone 2 on the Xbox exclusive or something, because he's like, clearly Sony has not given us respect for almost years now, and then now you want to feature us as one of the 170 plus other Astrobot characters within the game. Nah, just let us have full control of our IP and go somewhere else. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting it from him. But then again, let's hear from you, the gamers. Do you feel like he's being salty? Like, is this really something to like, is this the hill to die on? Let us know what's good. But hey, we got an industry update. The HenricK the Wreck. Break it down.
Yeah. The Screen Actors Guild just landed a hefty punch in their ongoing brawl over the interactive media agreement, revealing that 80 video games and developers have jumped into the ring, signing to keep hiring performers amid the strike. And it all kicked off in July, when over 18 months of negotiations crashed and burned over AI, leading to a work stoppage against 10 major video game developers, as seen here the likes of, Activision Blizzard, Take-Two, Epic Games, big names in the space. And of course, with this, news as an update, gamers shared their thoughts on the news with the following.
Yes, they did, HenricK. So let's go ahead and read the first comment. If generative AI gets widely used in entertainment, then forget about having good games ever again. Is that the case? I mean, we did see the finals. They used all AI voices, and I know that really upset a lot of people.
But look where that game is now.
Ooh, hot take, HenricK. Hot take. Is it sitting there with X Defiant?
I'm not saying that's because of their use of AI, though. Just to clarify.
Those AI voices, I will still stand by it to this day. It sounds like the fish newscaster in SpongeBob SquarePants.
It does, yeah.
What was that? You could have hired your boy Chris Collins. Oh, I remember when CGI was going to kill cinema forever, and of course, printing music on disc instead of on vinyl. But this one lady follows up. CGI and CDs are mediums, while AI can replace someone's job. Yeah,
it's kind of strange to compare the two.
That was a really good clapback. I like her for that. Keep AI out of art. There are a lot of pros and cons of it. I still think there's still a lot of great AI art, but we're going to have to find that balance. There's probably some middle ground that can be reached, so the use of AI won't invalidate actual voice actors and their work, but reaching that is going to be hard when publishers would rather ram this shit through so they can pinch their pennies. Yeah, that's why they're brokering deals amid the strike. And even the people, a part of SAG, are not happy with this move. Not hysterical at all. You can see it already in the places where it became widely used. For example, there's a site called ArtStation, a website for artists to post their portfolios. Amazing site until generative AI came along. Now it's full of low-quality, derivative, unoriginal work, making it almost unusable. Just one example, but there are many. And last, you don't want any company to ever have any license to use your voice for AI training. Even if they don't use your voice directly, they could still use it to train AI how to sound naturally. The only correct answer is to only do unionized work and have contracts that prevent anyone from using your voice to train AI. It's so funny that I'm reading that comment because that's always what I think I might have said this during the show. If I haven't, let me know, HenricK. But I've always made that joke. It's why do you think Activision Blizzard and Sony were hey, you got to sign this new terms of service agreement where we're gonna monitor your voice.
Oh, that
for
whole
bullying.
Thing, yeah.
Does anybody really buy that? Honest to God, I went there. Does anybody buy that?
If you didn't get a real tinfoil hat about it, I'm sure that they probably are.
Because that's always the debate with ChatGPT and Grok and all them. They're how they train these systems.
It's exactly how all the phone manufacturers, the phone operating system manufacturers are going right now, where Apple just introduced their Apple Intelligence AI, and then Google has been doing Gemini, and I'm sure that they've trained their model on a little bit here and there, at least on conversations that people have had with Siri and Google Assistant.
Absolutely. Without your merit, without your consent. There's a it's
or it is with your consent, but you just don't know.
That's true.
Because you don't read that.
We don't read shit. you ain't lying. Especially you, Gen Z. I'm calling you out. And you, Gen Alpha. The only thing you read is off your tweets. All you're online. But anyways, it's such a good point. And there's a reason why even the New York Times right now is in a lawsuit with ChatGPT because they feel like the AI was being trained by fleshing through all their article pieces. And they feel like that when you go on ChatGPT and you type in a response, they felt like a lot of the feedback was a lot of the stuff that they've already published. And so, you start hearing these kind of things, HenricK. And so did the July showdown over AI lead to a promising start for AI protections? Or are we just still left with more questions than answers? Because they didn't really say who the 80 groups are, too. Did you notice that as well?
Yeah, another thing. It could be just really small companies and studios saying that they're on board with giving the rights that the voice actors want and need. But it's going to be a bit of time, I feel like, still until everyone is on board with some sort of deal. And I could definitely see this actually going on into the next year. Like past the holiday season and even into January.
Because that's why everybody always makes that joke with like the whole NFTs, like even like that last guy, from the the previous topic, he was all talking about your car dealership and all that kind of stuff, and having all your paperwork together with like an NFT. I suppose that's the kind of blockchain technology that they're going to have to try to figure out when it comes to AI voices, because how are you going to be able to kind of even protect that kind of stuff? Like, I'm really, really curious. Even tomorrow, actually, I believe it's tomorrow, Oprah Winfrey's having a sit down with a lot of these AI
I did see
CEO
this,
leaders, with Bill Gates. You got Sam Altman that's going to be sitting down. You also got Marcus Brownlee, which is an amazing YouTube content creator, that covers all that kind of like tech-based stuff, and a few others. And it's like, will they even be able to address some of those things that even the Screen Actor Guild is trying to figure out? Because I don't think those wingnuts are able to figure it out. That union is moving really, really slow. Instead of actually like getting down to actually figuring out how to protect AI protections, they just keep brokering off deals. Oh yeah. We'll sign up with another AI company. Hey,
I always see
Replica Studios.
I always see it as how like a lot of the politicians in Congress and around the world really are, where in regards to tech and digital age movements and things like this, where a lot of them are just really, really behind. And so that's why the law is really behind as well. There's definitely the same sort of thing going on here with SAG-AFTRA, where the people in charge are kind of behind and need to be updated on things properly.
I think the only way I could see any of those voiceover actors, and even in animations, it's beyond even just video games. It's also your audiobooks and podcasts and etc. I truly believe before they sign any kind of AI protection, they need to have a public display for the whole world to see how they can register your voice and how that works. It has to be a visual presentation. We cannot just take your word. We cannot just read a tweet with the one-page statement, basically addressing that, trust us, just believe me. Like, believe me on my merits. I can't buy that. I have to see how it actually works before I ever, come to that conclusion or that reassurance that it's like they will be able to protect my name, image, and likeness and my voice. And I know even there's other states out there that are trying to even figure that out with even music artists. They got the Voice Act over there in Tennessee. The music capital of the world. Over there in Nashville. So we're gonna have to see how this all plays out, because there's a lot of jobs that can be affected by this, but there's also just the fact that you got to get paid for your shit.
Yeah, exactly. Don't want to have people just losing jobs willy-nilly.
Yeah, so guys, do you feel like this is a good step in the right direction? Are you like myself that you feel like you really need to see it to believe it? Or do you feel like this whole AI freak out is nothing to worry about and I have no problem playing video games with AI voices? Let us know what's good. But hey, this has been such an amazing show. Welcome back, HenricK. Welcome back to the flesh. Yes, we had a little bit of technical difficulties last week, but we do appreciate you, the gamers, always joining us every Wednesday live at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, because without you, the gamers, this show would not be possible. And while we're at it, if you're not following my YouTube channel, go ahead and hit the QR code, scan that bad boy, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a live show.
Go ahead and scan that QR code as well. And same drill, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. I am going to get better at making content, so stay tuned. Some things are on the way.
You were just having too much of a good time during the summertime that you're like, you know what? I got to get back in action. I get back. Get your ass back in the chair. I think I know something that might keep you in place. Do you want me to buy that gaming chair for you?
Elden Ring chair.
Okay, maybe. That might keep you intact. Hey, but gamers, we will see you live next Wednesday at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time on Meta, on Twitch, and on YouTube. Peace.
See ya.